One thing that I have really observed the last couple years by filming underwater throughout the spawning process is there are a large number of bass, or a very significant part of the population of bass, that spawn in areas that we had no idea that they were there. And so what I mean by that is either offshore, okay, off the shoreline quite a ways, and if you have a little bit clearer water, they're going to be a lot deeper, or deeper I should say, than we often think about. And as the spawning process continues, that second and third wave of fish come up and that water's warming up, it's going to move them even deeper still. I have run across bass in areas that I had no clue that there was any spawning activity going on there. So how does this translate to how I'm locating fish or finding fish in the spring? Well, I like to really focus on the pre and the post spawn period, as far as their staging, I should say. They're coming up to spawn and then leaving that actual spawning process. So because of that, and because they're often in places that, you know, we don't think about, I love to cover as much water as possible. And then when I find a stack of fish, you know, they're one of these bus stops as they're coming into the spawning area, then I will focus more on a spot. But otherwise, when I first get out there, when I first get started, it is cover, cover, cover water. Well, there's several lures and presentations that work great for this. My top two are jerk baits and deep diving crankbaits, because I can just cover massive amount of territory quickly, and they're reaction lures. Even if the bass aren't really wanting to bite, I can usually get them to bite because of a deflection or a sudden change of movement. A Carolina rig also works extremely well, can cover a ton of water. And the nice thing about that is it's super easy to define what that bottom composition is, and when you catch a fish, what was it that was holding them there. But you can also use, if it's a tough bite out there, something like a shaky head can be a very effective tool to cover water as well. Not as fast as like a deep diving crankbait, but you can put a little heavier jig head on and really start to drag it through some areas. And one, it's also going to define what is down there, but it allows you to cover water probably quicker than what we associate with normal shaky head fishing. And why this is so popular is because what you find today, there's a really good chance when you go out there tomorrow, that area, that bus stop, that spot that was holding fish could be completely void of life because they've moved on, or the majority of a group has moved on. So this concept of covering or searching water is just something that you are going to use and apply all throughout that pre and post spawn period. And because the bass that I found are so often in not areas that I would normally think about, this is an excellent time of year to force yourself to be another cast length off the shoreline. So if you're a bank angler, use those lures and, you know, those setups that you can really cast the farthest out there. If you are in a boat, back off another cast length. And, you know, sometimes, and this includes me as well, I just can't pull myself away from that shallow shoreline cover. So I'll go ahead and fish through that once, make a loop back, and then back off the shoreline another cast length. And I find that is a very effective way for me to fish, because I've already targeted the shallow stuff, and in my mind I can be like, okay, I already fished that. Now I can focus out here deeper. And hey, if you want to watch a video that talks about that most critical factor for jerkbait success, go ahead and watch this one right here. And make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.